Welcome. So this is a trick for multiplying any number by a one-digit number in your head. The whole point of this trick is to do it in your head, not the piece of paper. If you had a piece of paper, you wouldn't necessarily do it this way. This is if you're doing it in your head, okay? So if I asked you to multiply this, a lot of you would multiply 3 times 1, and you'd write 3, then 3 times 2, which is in the tens here, it's 6, and then 3 times 3, and then 3 times 4. Now, this is the right answer, and it's perfectly fine to do this if you have a piece of paper. But if you were doing this in your head, okay, and someone just said the number, you just saw the number, the problem with this is you are writing the digits this way. You start with the ones digit, then the tens, then the hundreds, and so forth. But when you read the number out loud, when you say the answer, you read it this way. You don't say 3, 60, 900, 2,000, 10,000. You say 12,963, right? You read it from left to right. So it makes sense to calculate it that way so you can read the answer as you are calculating. So we're going to flip this around. So instead of starting with the ones digit, I'm going to start with the highest digit. This is the thousandth. And this is the best way to do this in your head. So I was doing this in my head. I would do 3 times 4, and I would start reading my answer instantly. I would say 12,963. I would read it as I am calculating it. This was a pretty easy example. There was no carrying. There was just a 4-digit number. The numbers are pretty small. If there's some carrying involved, the numbers are bigger. This method is extremely powerful. Let's look at an example that has a carrying in it. So here we have 32,412 times 4. So you can try it going this way and multiply the numbers, and it'll be hard to do it in your head. So you have to remember all the numbers you're calculating and then read your answer kind of in reverse order. So I'm going to calculate it from the largest first. I'm going to start with the 10,000th digit, right? So I do 4 times 3, but I'm really doing is 4 times 30,000, right? So 4 times 3 is 12, and it's going to be, 120 some thousand. So I'm reading this as 120, and then I do the next one, which is 4 times 2. It's 8, but before I do that, this is called pre-carrying. I look at the next digit, and I'm going to see if I'm going to have to carry. I don't need to calculate it. If I know 4 times 4 is bigger than 9, I'm going to have to carry a 1. So I know that 8 is going to become a 9. So I read 129,000, and then I am doing 648. So I can read that in my head. The key was this pre-carrying. I anticipated the carry. If you practice this, you can actually get incredibly good at this, and it requires you to store way less information in your head, because as I'm reading the number, I no longer have to remember the parts that I have said. Once I've said 129,000, I don't remember that. I had just said it. And then once you say it, you hear it, and your brain actually remembers it even if you didn't want to, because you are listening to yourself say the number. Okay, let's try a little bit of a harder example. This one's 4,523. So I'm going to start with multiplying 4 by 4, which is 16, but I'm looking at the pre-carry. 4 times 5 is 20, so I'm going to have to carry over 2. And again, it's actually not so hard to do this in your head. So instead of 16, I know I'm going to write 18. So it's 18,000. So I'm actually saying the answer as I'm calculating. 18,000, and there's no pre-carry here. So 18,080. Oh, sorry, 18,000. And then while there's no pre-carry here, there is a pre-carry here because 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to carry that one as I read the problem. So it's 18,092. And again, it's actually harder for me to do this writing it than in my head because I'm used to doing this in my head. So let's try that one more time. Same problem. So in my head, I do 4 times 4, but I anticipate a carry of 2. So it's 18,000. And then I know that was 20, so I have that 0. 4 times 2 is 8. And then 4 times 3, and I'm to carry that 1, and I do that in my head. So it's 18,092. Let's try another one in our head. Let's try this one. 62,613 times 3. So if I was solving this in my head, I would do 3 times 6, which is 18, and that's going to be read as 180 some thousand, and 3 times 2 is 6, but I look if I have to pre-carry, and I do because the next one is 3 times 6, which is greater than 9. So there's a pre-carry there. So it's 187,000. And then 3 times 6 is 18. I already carried the 1. There's no more pre-carries. So it's 187,000. Then it's 839. Now, you can watch me do problems all day long, but you will not get good at this skill unless you practice, okay? And again, my 2 tips is practice the pre-carry. Once you get really good at that, you actually get quick at it. And the other thing is practice saying the number as you are calculating it. That's how all the people that are really fast at mental calculations always say the number as they're calculating it. Because once they say it, they can forget it and keep moving down the line. Okay, that's it.